A group of British lawmakers have urged the UK government to impose sanctions on Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie and other senior officials for permitting the police to use excessive violence on pro-democracy protesters. In a report that discussed the treatment of aid workers during the protests, the lawmakers said the Hong Kong police force had breached international humanitarian law and principles, international human rights, and the Sino-British Joint Declaration. The report said that humanitarian aid workers were subjected to intimidation, harassment, threats, physical violence, and arrests during the protests that began last year in response to the introduction of the extradition law. Even doctors and nurses received treatment that fell short of international human rights law. UK lawmakers urged the UK government to explore whether the targeted humanitarian aid workers fall within the purview of the Refugee Convention and consider how they could be best assisted. They said the HKPF's treatment of humanitarian aid workers and their interference within hospitals have resulted in injured protesters not receiving the required medical care in time or at all. According to the report, these actions may also have affected the medical care of the population in general, as a result of the hospital's independence and confidentiality being diminished by the ever-growing interference from the HKPF. The inquiry, which lasted 5 months, found no evidence to suggest that humanitarian aid workers were involved in hostilities that would justify the police stripping them of the protections otherwise available to aid workers. The All-Party Parliamentary Group on Hong Kong is an informal cross-party group of 12 parliamentarians from both the House of Commons and the House of Lords. This informal cross-party said that the UK should urgently impose Magnitsky-style sanctions on those responsible for permitting the excessive police violence at a high level in the administration, including but not limited to Chief Executive Carrie and the Commissioner of Police. It was first set up in November 2019 in response to the escalating political and social crisis in Hong Kong, which had been triggered by the extradition law.